the 8th of July and the storm of the century in St. Petersburg. The Russians are being swept off the face of the earth. Unbelievable.
We're in the epicenter of the mix. All sand. Petersburg is just unreal.
The Gulf of Finland is getting ready to swallow the city. It's going underwater. Petersburg is going underwater.
Totally drawn. Look at what's happening. This is near Engels Avenue.
People are getting to Petersburg by swimming.
I'm going too.
You'll drown.
But still, never level nothing into the port.
Petersburg is being wiped off the face of the earth. Houses are collapsing, cars are being destroyed, skyscrapers are falling. Boom! Crash! Boom! Uh-oh! How nice it is to live in Russia in the summer. They're sinking, they're exploding, and they're dying. A powerful hurricane is wiping Petersburg off the face of the earth. It's the apocalypse in Petersburg, the hurricane of the century. Roofs are being torn off, houses are collapsing, trees are falling down.
In a sudden and alarming turn of events, a dangerous explosive device, specifically identified as a grenade, is observed in mid-air rapidly. This projectile, with its inherent destructive potential, is seen falling directly towards a populated area. The immediate consequence of its impact is the catastrophic structural failure and complete collapse of the building. This essential piece of urban infrastructure, typically designed to provide shelter and convenience for public transport users, is utterly destroyed, reduced to rubble and debris. The scene is one of immediate chaos and significant destruction, clearly demonstrating the violent nature of the incident and the powerful force unleashed by the grenade's detonation.
This weekend, Petersburg started to flood. The water level is rising along the city's embankment. Fresh boo boo. Parks are flooded. People can only get around by swimming. The Gulf of Finland is overflowing its banks. Uprooted trees, sandstorms are starting. Waves have already washed away benches and kiosks on the local beaches. On top of the massive flooding, Petersburg was hit by a sandstorm.
Brutal.
For the first time in 160 years, Petersburg is experiencing a massive flood. Cranes are falling, houses are collapsing, cars are going underwater. The hurricane is ripping off roofs, destroying cars, sweeping people away. It's wiping Petersburg off the face of the earth. A storm warning was issued for the Gulf of Finland, and the dam was closed to prevent flooding. But the flood happened. The Gulf of Finland is storming. This is precisely how it overflows its banks, thereby forcing Petersburg to completely close the dam. Consequently, there's a truly massive flood occurring in Petersburg, a powerful hurricane in Russia's first capital. For example, Rashevsky's balcony collapsed because of the tornado. Boom, boom. A decision was made to close the dam gates on the Gulf of Finland due to the large-scale flooding. Look at how the city is going underwater.
Victor, how are you doing?
Great. Cars in Petersburg are floating. There's a massive flood in Petersburg. A car is going underwater. The city dam was closed because the water level reached its maximum, 180 centimeters. Boom! Padav!
It's all sand. Petersburg is just unreal. We need to get out of here. The trash bin wasn't worth it. This is just insane. There are still people holding onto a table over there.
crazy. St. Petersburg was hit by a powerful flood. The thunderstorm, the storm, the flood, and the deluge have moved on. This is the first July flood in Petersburg in 160 years. God's punishment. Nature is taking revenge on Russia. A large-scale evacuation has begun in the city. Yellow danger level has been declared in Petersburg. There are casualties on the streets of Petersburg during the apocalypse. Trees are collapsing, cars are being destroyed. The hurricane is sweeping away Petersburg's cars along with their owners. The storm is toppling houses, structures, banners, and streets. And lightning struck the Lakta Center Tower in St. Petersburg.
The price is listed as three cranes. This is my crane. The crane that just fell, the LSR one. And this crane is standing just fine.
Thunderstorms, rain, and strong winds have hit Moscow. These days, the 4th of July, -5. A yellow hazard level is in effect.
30 meters per second. A tower crane was toppled in St. Petersburg. About 300 trees were knocked down. Due to the bad weather, 3 people died, including an 11-year-old child. There are injured people, including a woman who was knocked down by a flying football. A store in the Kalininsk district lost its roof.
People in St. Petersburg are already sharing footage. Heavy rains and thunderstorms in the city are causing the dam to be closed. The western districts of St. Petersburg are the first to be hit. A powerful cyclone, hurricane-strength winds intensifying from the west, and lightning struck the Lakta Center Tower in St. Petersburg. We've already closed the dam in the city, and the water level has risen to 180 centimeters. The aftermath of the storm can already be seen in Sestoretsk, where an entire park has been flooded. The water is steadily making its way to the central parts of the city. St. Petersburg is already preparing for a major flood in the city center. On the outer side of the dam, the water level has risen to 180 centimeters. The cyclone brought the city a powerful westerly wind, unusual for the summer season, causing flooding in the bay. According to meteorologists, it all started on the night of the 4th of July. A severe hurricane began in the eastern part of the Gulf of Finland. Wind gusts reached 28 meters per second and wave heights were up to 2.5 meters. The water level in the Neva River rose to critical levels. The last time such weather conditions occurred in St. Petersburg was 160 years ago during a flood. On the 12th of July, 1865, local authorities and rescue services are doing everything they can to prevent the flood, but nothing is working. The Ministry of Emergency Situations decided to close the dam gates on the night of the 4th of July. Access from the Gulf of Finland to St. Petersburg has been completely blocked. Ship traffic in the Kronstadt shipping channel has been suspended. And right now, St. Petersburg is experiencing a powerful cyclone, strong westerly winds, and a flood threat that is already reaching the city center. So there's flooding in St. Petersburg, cars are going underwater, and the city dam has been closed. The most difficult situation is in Sestrorets. There, Duki Park has been flooded. It is expected that the water level in the Niva will rise even further. The bad weather is knocking down trees.
There's no bait.
During the apocalypse on the streets of St. Petersburg, 2 women were injured. In Kronstadt, a tree fell on one of them while she was sitting in her car. A powerful wind knocked down more than 35 trees in the morning, and dozens of cars in Rashid have been damaged. Meanwhile, the storm toppled the bus stop in the Pushkinsky district, a poorly secured structure in a courtyard on Serebristy Boulevard. The road is blocked after the trees collapsed, and right now on Nekrasova, a tree trunk has fallen onto the roadway. City services have been put on high alert and emergency readiness. Meteorologists promise that the wind will not die down all weekend. And please like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel. We continue to cover all natural disasters in Russia. Flood Moscow and St. Petersburg, destroy everything, burn Russia to the ground. So in Moscow, rain and strong winds hit the city on the 4th of July. And furthermore, the yellow danger level will be in effect. This is already happening.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine Today. Join us now.
Crazy weather in Khabarovsk. In St. Petersburg, a billboard fell onto a car and the downpour flooded the streets. A pessimist, it's the apocalypse. An optimist, now a Venice, flooded Russia. Isn't this the idea, friends? Write in the comments what you think about this. I sincerely wish for Russia to perish, be destroyed, and self-destruct. In Khabarovsk, heavy rain flooded streets and wind knocked down a billboard. Residents reported a massive downpour hit the city during the day. Billboards fell, roads and a shopping center were flooded. An hour later, in some areas, rain almost stopped. The Ministry of Emergency Situations warned that in 3 districts the water level was rising and declared a yellow weather hazard level. we're not finished yet. A powerful storm in Omsk. Due to strong winds, power lines are being torn down. Sparks are flying through the streets. In some parts of the city, trees have fallen onto parked cars. The electricity went out. It's just, well, a masterpiece, really. A balcony collapsed onto a woman during the hurricane in Omsk. According to the database, the collapse happened on Herson Street on the 4th of July. Friends, please like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And now, let's take a look at another top-notch analysis. Racist propaganda from this hateful country that loves to destroy other countries, attack them, commit war crimes, missile terror and drone terror, that bombs our country, Ukraine, every night, destroys our people so that Russia would be wiped off the face of the earth. We sincerely wish for that. Well, now let's take a look at another breakdown of racist propaganda.
With all due respect to Azerbaijan, its history and traditions, if for a moment Russia so much as raises an eyebrow, we are, after all, Azerbaijan's third largest trading partner. And I want to remind you of the amount of money that is transferred from Russia to Azerbaijan, not from Azerbaijan to Russia. And then apparently the situation could change drastically. That's exactly what they're counting on. Or considering the 300 kilometers of border and seeing what they're allowing themselves to do and watching how on national television they're allowed to say anything, even wishing for war. I'm sure that no person in their right mind living in Azerbaijan would ever go that far in their foolishness.
There are, all sorts of considerations, all kinds of circumstances, internal factors, internal politics. But I'm not talking about our internal politics. I'm talking about our neighbors. Well, it's sad. It's unfortunate. Sad and unfortunate. Where will this lead? Nowhere good. At the very least, to serious economic losses, especially if Russia, as in the case with Azerbaijan, is the third largest trading partner. And as you know, what we supply to Azerbaijan is not oil and gas, but let's say products with higher added value. That's all there is to it. That's the whole picture.
If Russia so much as raises an eyebrow for a moment, after all, we are Azerbaijan's third largest trading partner. And I'd like to remind you how much money is transferred from Russia to Azerbaijan, not the other way around. Or considering the 300 kilometers of border and seeing what some allow themselves to say and watching what is said on central television, do you really want to go to war? Some countries have already had problems because of this. They naively thought they could get away with it and then bitterly regretted it. That's why I believe that the activities of British and Turkish intelligence services on the territory of Azerbaijan aimed at destabilization will ultimately lead to only one thing: unimaginable losses and tragedy for the sensible residents of Azerbaijan.
I think, well, maybe I really am missing something there. Maybe I don't know the region's history well enough. So I went and looked to see where the history of the Great Azerbaijan was, the one supposedly interrupted by the military intervention of the Russian Empire. I didn't find any Azerbaijan. It simply didn't exist. And in fact, I couldn't even find such an ethnicity as Azerbaijan. That is this very ethnicity. The people we now know as Azerbaijanis, with all due respect, were essentially also invented by the Soviet authorities. I think it's a good idea to suggest to the Houthis that they live for a while in the Kaliningrad region.
And, for example, invite some colleagues from Somalia, though it would be cold for them since they're used to warmer climates. But right now, while it's summer, it might be fine for them. They love fishing, they're sailors at heart, so they could easily adapt. It's no coincidence, I think, that almost all the leaders of Somali pirates studied at Russian universities. There was some kind of natural connection, and so there are remnants of that. They play battleship, which is great. So the Houthis will be hunting drones, and the Somalis, out of habit, will show the bolts who's boss here. Well, as for the bolts, we're judging this. All of us, we express our deep disagreement. I would say I'm concerned.
Friends, please like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and stand on the side of light, on the side of Ukraine. Every like, every comment, every subscription from you helps make sure this video is seen by as many people around the world as possible. Stay with us, stay on the bright side. Glory to Ukraine! Glory to the heroes! We will definitely win!